yet.
Hi everyone. I should say howdy partners. It's Kristen Cook. I'm your Boise Wine Ambassador, and we're getting ready to kick off another pouring and pairing pour Vous. Live cooking and wine demonstration, and I'm going to talk about the wines a little bit. We've got the big and bold experience for you tonight, so we thought we'd kick it off with a little cowboy western theme, and Susie's paired some dishes up beautifully to match with it. So I'm going to kick it off to Susie to introduce her portion, and then I'll be back to pour wine and explain for all of you.
All right. I always like to give helpful tips and decorating ideas. I wanted to do a theme today because themes are my thing. I absolutely love themes. So what I did, I'm going to show you a few of the little things that I did just to make it extra special. So many of you will follow me over here. I bought this $4 cowboy hat, and I bought a pack of, I think, 8 or 10 of these little plastic sheriff badges here. This is something that I cart stuff around in. I put it out at Christmas. It's really kind of worn, but I think it looks great. Today when I was going out to my garage to find a couple other little pieces, I actually had this rope. Okay, and I don't even remember buying it. I don't remember buying it. I think I bought it for a different project for Christmas, and it ended up not working out. So I was like, I saw that from the corner of my, that works, so I put that over here. These are just some little things that I use to decorate around with. This is actual bucket that I use, my watering can that I use to water my herbs that I have growing out on my patio. I bought like a big pack of flowers, and then I bought some 5 extra sunflowers and these little daisies. So I spent $20 on flowers, and this is called Purple Seafoam Status. I didn't buy this. I went out to my apartment. They have it growing all around the pool area, and I picked a couple of pieces or cut a couple pieces off to add that in here. And I just think that looks super fun. So what I did with those little bunches is I have these little milk. I bought 6 of these a while back, and I've used them for so many fun different things. So what I did with this is I took a few flowers, part of that, and I put one in the bathroom. I always think it's nice when you have something pretty in your bathroom like that, and then some greens, whatever you have, just to kind of give you an idea. But it's as simple as that, or just having a little thing to put in your bathroom or around. I have these all around the apartment here, so we'll just set that one off over there for now. And then the other thing I want to show you is a couple other things. I love these little votive candles. I buy them by the box full, so I have like however many. Sometimes you get them in the bags, or like 50 of them or 100 of them. And I love mason jars. So this is one of my little mason jars, and I buy these by the dozen. They have lids. I use them all the time. If I have just a little bit of something left over, I use these. And so these just go here. And then I took a little bit of more greenery and a couple little sprigs of that, and then that would look good in the bathroom. That's another thing that you can do with that. Very inexpensive to do these things, and these, like, again, you could just keep using them over and over and over. And these jars are able to be, they're definitely can be high heat because they can be in boiling water for canning and stuff, so it works great for that. The other thing is this. So this is something I put out on my porch for the holidays, and you can see the space there would normally you'd put a pillar candle. Well, pillar candles are, one thing, they're expensive, and another thing, they're messy. So I like to be economical and save some money. So what I do is I put that in there, and I have this little votive candle. You could use one of those other ones as well. I'm going to drop that down in there, and now that's going to burn. These are actually 6 hours, so it'll burn for 6 hours. It's still going to illuminate it, and I've just saved a whole bunch of money.
That is cool.
And it's not going to drip all over the place, so that's fun. So that's a couple things that I've got going there. Well, let's set this off over here. Let's set it up here. And okay, so a couple other things. I thought it would be festive and fun for our napkins, so I bought these bandanas, and I'm going to take this bandana, I'm going to pinch it in the middle. I like to do things easy. You can card and fold it really fancy, but I don't like to take too much time to do that.
Hello.
Come on in.
Hi. Okay,
It's okay. And here's another
Our
helpful
guest is
hint.
arriving.
This is a mason jar, a wide mouth mason jar, and it just happens to fit a thing of jute or twine that you can get at Home Depot. You poke a hole in the middle, and then you pull it out, and it just keeps on going. And I'm about out here, so I'm going to use some of that to tie up my bandana with my silverware in it. Just make a knot. But it's just that simple, and it just adds so much. Then the other thing I did was I took one of these little plastic badges, threaded that, and then did another little knot or just another little tie, and there you go. There's your silverware.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what we've got going on there. So our menu tonight, I went with the country theme. So our menu tonight is buffalo chicken bites, and I made 2 different dressings because I'm an overachiever. So no, because I think
Why make one when you can make 2?
right. That's exactly it. And the biggest reason I did it is because I think technically it's like wings, buffalo wings. They have blue cheese, but I know not everybody likes blue cheese. I happen to like it a lot. So I'm going to have blue cheese, but I'm also serving with ranch. So I'll have 2 different choices, so you can pick whatever one you want. So we'll do that. That's our first course. I'm just going to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing. The next course will be crab bites, and they're individual crab cakes, and I'm going to show you how I do that with a Remoulade sauce. I think I'm saying that right. And then we have cast iron steaks, so New York steaks. I'm doing them in the cast iron pan. That's very country, so we're doing them inside instead of outside. And then I'm going to, I'll show you more about that. And then I'm also doing a fried corn and okra. And I know I'm going to hear people way about okra, so I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get to it. So I'm going to start off with, I do need to do some cooking. And what I've done, I'm just going to give you an idea. I'm not going to make the sauces, but I've already made my, this is my buffalo sauce, and I'll have all the recipes up online. You use this Frank's red original sauce, and then it has some Worcester, it has some ground mustard, smoked paprika, a bunch of stuff like that. So you just melt, and some butter, so you melt it all up, you stir it up, and then I put a little bit of that in these are just boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I cut into 1-inch cubes, and now I'm going to fry them up, and then I'll be serving them. So while I'm frying these up in a non-stick skillet, I've tried both, and I prefer the non-stick skillet. So we're up to, what do you do? It's okay.
What's my name?
Turned over to Kristen. No,
She's forgotten me already.
Because
Oh my gosh.
I thought it was going sideways or something again. So anyway, yeah. So go ahead. Let's jump in.
It's always fun when we move around. Okay, so I told you that tonight we've got a Western theme going on. I had picked out a wine flight from the Boisset collection, which is basically 25 wineries from Burgundy in France, owned by Jean-Charles Boisset. I'm a wine ambassador for Jean-Charles. So I thought it would be fun to pick this flight. It's called the Big and Bold Experience. And what it is are these 3 wines are very bold for their varietal. So I thought that would be fun, and when I mentioned it to Susie, she decided, big, bold, that's a cowboy, that's country western, that's a western theme. So she came up with these great dishes that are going to pair with each of these wines. And I'm going to explain what makes this particular wine bold for its category. So we've got a rosé, a chardonnay, and a red blend called the Sheriff. So I think that's pretty appropriate for our western theme. And then we have some guests tonight, so we're going to introduce them, and I'm super excited to have someone that's going to share their rosé. We're going to have a little rosé off, so we get to taste 2 rosés side by side. Not that one is wrong and one is right. We can have both of them, and we're going to enjoy them. So I'm going to kick it off with our first rosé tonight, which is our, this comes from Deloche Vineyards over in Russian River Valley, over in Sonoma. Deloche is a beautiful property. It's a biodynamic winery. I think I explained last month, if you guys tuned in, we talked about biodynamic versus organic, vegan, dry farm, sustainable. What does that all mean? So this does come from a vineyard that is biodynamic. So we don't use anything chemical or synthetic in our wines. We have goats and chickens and cows and sheep, and we take care of all of that pesticide and those kind of problems naturally that can occur in a vineyard. So I poured a little bit of the Deloche Rosé in your glasses, ladies. And I'm going to explain what we mean by how you make a rosé bold. So rosé is one of those wines that varies widely, right? It can be a really pale pink blush wine. It can be a deep, dark, richer colored wine, which this one is. So how do you make it bold? Well, in this particular instance, what they did with this wine was they did a red wine fermentation, but then they drain off the juices when it gets to the desired color and the flavor. And in this case, they wanted a big, bold flavor. So this is called Deloche Rosé or Pinot Noir. It's 100% Pinot Noir grapes. They are premium Pinot Noir grapes, so this is going to be a pretty tangy, dry, but very bold in your mouth kind of rosé. This isn't a timid rosé. This is going to be kind of a red wine drinker's rosé, I guess would be a good way to describe it. So I'm going to let you guys taste that. I'm going to pour a little bit for myself. Because why not? Susie, do you need one? Susie's going to have a glass. I've got yours right there. In case you want one now. I mean, you can have a little sip. Sure. And then she's gonna pair that with the dish and explain that to you. But while she's cooking, I thought what we would do is kick it off to one of our guests. Well, first of all, we have two guests tonight, so we're fortunate to have Bridget. Nelson. It's so funny. I'm always just saying, where's Bridget? Where's Bridget? You're in Napa, and you are a realtor, correct?
I work for Fidelity Title.
Fidelity Title. See? What do I know? Okay. Great.
Located on First Street all the way to
And she's known Susie for a long, long, long time.
Yeah,
so.
and I've enjoyed a lot of her cooking and her events.
Right.
Just her spirit and love for food. So it's quite a treat to be here tonight.
Yes.
And I absolutely love wine too.
So this is a win-win for you.
Might have to fill up. Keep filling up.
Don't worry, we'll keep it. And then we've got Megan. I'm going to say your last name, Vergara.
Just like Sophia, I tell her.
Oh, I love it.
Right? People are like, "Is she related?" And I'm like, no, but that's okay.
And Megan is a winemaker, and I met Megan. This is a fun story. I actually met Megan at an event downtown Napa at a Be Bubbly wine bar. They were having a charity event that night, and so, you know, we contributed, we went there. She's sitting outside, I'm sitting outside, and this is one of the things I absolutely love about living in wine country and living in Napa Valley. People are friendly, you strike up these conversations, you meet these amazing people, you find out what they're doing, they find out what you're doing, you exchange stories, and next thing you know, you're like best friends and you want to hang out all the time. So, I instantly just thought she was amazing because she shared her story, which I'm going to let her tell you about now. And we are so fortunate that she brought her rosé tonight, so we're going to get to learn about that and taste that as well.
Yeah, well, what's really cool, nice to meet you. Thank you for having me. Susie from Very
Oh my gosh.
But what's so fun about this is a wine that I produce, and I only make 125 cases, and it is a rosé of Pinot Noir, also from the Russian River Valley.
Well, I'm looking at the color, so
Very, very similar, so it'll be fun to compare
It
side
will,
by side.
yeah.
So I've actually been in the wine business for almost 20 years, and I've loved wine my entire career, and I finally got the chance to produce my own wine and kind of tell my own story, which is really, really special. So this is my baby. This
Yes,
is like
it
my
is.
child, essentially. And I
What a
had the
beautiful
great,
label.
Thank
Oh,
you.
so
Such a good
pretty.
story. Yeah. I had the great honor with working with the Bacchus family, who are right in Russian River Valley on West Side Road. They're significant because they actually produced the Chardonnay that won the Paris Judgment in 1976. Yeah, that's them, that vineyard. So it's an honor of a lifetime to get to work with them and create this wine. So 125 cases was produced, and it's called M Rosé, and I had a very dear friend create the label for me. And basically I wanted to tell a great story of what it means for a woman to kind of come into her own and tell her own story and to bloom. So that's where you see all these gorgeous flowers coming out of the label. And it was just a joy to kind of craft and create this wine. So 125 cases made by me. I am the M behind the label, Rosé of Pinot Noir, and it's actually made in a more Provençal delicate style. So.
Oh, nice. Cheers.
Fun
Cheers.
comparison.
Cheers.
Sorry, the food
Hey,
smells delicious in here.
Yeah.
It's the sauce.
It's the sauce.
But it's
Woo!
delicious. It looks good. It sounds amazing.
Okay, so Susie, that brings me to an interesting question. Why do I cough when I am smelling like
Yeah,
buffalo
yeah,
sauce? And I
pepper.
love buffalo sauce. What is it? Is there an ingredient or something that just makes you?
Well, it definitely has that cayenne pepper, and it has.
Look at us all. I put the ceiling fan on. I'm like, woo! Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you about that, guys?
No, we know they're gonna taste fabulous. I know that.
Oh,
absolutely.
But,
That's all shared nice and
oh,
cake.
so can I pour yours side by side? Megan? And
Or
your
do you
glass?
guys maybe want to step outside for a minute?
Yeah.
Is that possible? Yeah.
Right, I'll this is all yours.
Very nice out here, and we can. Yep.
Yeah, and then this glass, so we can compare side by side. She's got her glass. So interesting. I can't wait to taste hers either. I'm gonna get another little glass.
Yeah, it's a great comparison.
And look at the color. I mean, don't you think kind of similar?
Can I try a little bit more
Yeah,
vintage?
absolutely. Look, we have a bottle. We can try like one. Yeah. Okay, calm down now. I'm not coughing quite as much. Okay, so yeah, you saw the color, Mia. You were able to zoom in
Yes.
there on the color. And I have a confession to make. I haven't had this rosé yet. I thought I did, and then I tasted it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of my style of rosé. And
Yeah, it's
I used to
fun.
think that I really liked the lighter and, more, I don't know what I had in my head that was the only rosé I could drink, and then I'm like, I think this is more my style.
Well, that's what's so great about California. We can be both, right? We can
Yeah.
create these wines of great elegance, and we call it Provençal style
Yes,
rosés,
yes,
where
that's what I thought was
it's
my
delicate,
preference.
right? But we have enough sunshine and ripening here as we get with the Deloge that we get this fruit character, we get melon, we get citrus, we get strawberry, but it all comes through very cleanly with a beautiful sort of thread of this.
So tell us how you got into winemaking.
So I was a sommelier for many years in New York City. I worked and lived in Manhattan and ran some great restaurants there from a very, very young age on, and then just determined that wine was a way of life and a way of being that was far beyond just anything
So
I
great.
imagined. Yeah, the way that wine connects to people and that you interact with people, and food as well. I think Susie is very similar. It's a great way to reach people. It's a great way to kind of meet them in a
Conversations,
happy
right?
place, eventually, and bring joy. So. Sommelier at a very young age, and then as I kind of progressed on my wine journey, I landed in Napa Valley, and it was all over after that.
Right.
As you know, yeah,
Yes.
cheers.
Yes, came out of it, not leaving, you don't have to drag me out.
Yeah,
They made wonderful friends, so.
and then to see the lifestyle that is wine and winemaking, and it's all encompassing.
It's amazing.
It's just beauty all around you, and it's just a care of craftsmanship and the love of the land and storytelling and reaching people.
I agree.
And I decided to just
I
do what I
agree.
did. So this is my first offering ever. My first.
We can work for the tourism board.
Hey.
We have everybody
This is
moving to
Napa
Napa
Valley.
Valley, right?
Yeah.
Tourism board.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We're gonna let you, I'm gonna call on you when I pour the other wines too, to just kind of share from the
Yeah, great,
winemaker
yeah, yeah.
perspective. So,
Not just a winemaker, but sommelier as well.
and food. So, Susie, are you ready to
Yeah, so,
explain
yes,
your
I am.
dish here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, it smells amazing.
So this, what I did is, like I said, ranch dressing. I am a purist. I love Hidden Valley Ranch, but not in a jar or bottle. It has to be fresh. So I make it fresh with fresh milk and mayonnaise. And this, I buy it in bulk, so this is Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning. You can put it in a blender, you can put it in a measuring cup and just like blend it up. And then I add some freshly ground pepper, because I really love pepper. And that kind of makes it even taste a little bit homemade that way. So definitely, this is also on my website, how I do it, how I measure it. It's pretty easy, the things to buy. And then this, I made this blue cheese dressing right into this measuring cup using my hand mixer. It has a little whip attachment. And this has, I took a rendition of, if you've ever heard of Chart House, the Chart House, they have a blue cheese dressing, and I just always fell in love with it. And they actually had for years when they had their recipe right out there for a week so that we could take it. And I started making it myself. So what it was very thick. So the dressing's very thick, and what I do is I thin it down for this. The reason why theirs was so thick is that they always tossed their salads table side. So it was good so that it didn't get too watered down when they did it that way. So what I did is I just took some of the things from that I like, and I think the secret ingredient in this, so it's milk and mayonnaise, and sour cream, but it has some garlic, some dried mustard, but it's the Worcestershire sauce. Just a little baby bit, but not too much. And so yeah, it's just the perfect amount, and then it's fresh ground pepper. So what I say is you do the fresh ground pepper. Choose the blue cheese that you like. They did Danish blue cheese. I use whatever blue cheese. I really like Point Reyes blue. So since I've been in Napa, I started really enjoying that. So I get that sometimes. But the helpful hint here is if you buy it already crumbled, then you don't have, that's one step that you don't have to do. So just choose whatever it is that you like, and then after you get it all done, you need to make it about 24 hours in advance so all those flavors blend together. And then, of course, add more fresh ground pepper when you're done. So, all right, so with our buffalo, I'm showing you how to class it up a little bit. I've actually put it in this little tray. I found to have these little buckets. I already had these things. These are things that I use when I'm serving around a lot. They're great to take out to the pool. So I've got my carrot and celery sticks here. I've got my buffalo chicken bites here. And I've got some extra, in one of those little jars, some extra picks here for them to use. And then if you want to class it up a little bit, you can also serve it in individual shot glasses. And I buy these for 3 of them for $1 at the dollar store. So it's another way to do that. I did make only ranch, so I know Richard. So she hijacks my blue cheese salad. And then I happen to have these cute little pans, and I thought, oh, why not? So that way you can serve, you can pour some. If you want ranch, you can pour that in there, or if you want some blue cheese for your dipping, for your extra dipping here, there you go.
Thank you. This is really, really great.
All right, so now they probably want to, they're going to taste. You guys are going to taste how it pairs with it. You let me know
You
that.
sold me on the Point Reyes blue cheese. I'm not a big blue cheese person, but I wonder, is it a little bit more mild, or is there something to it, or
There's something, I don't know, it's tangy.
creamy? Okay.
It's tangy, yeah.
I'm excited.
I'm not exactly sure. But I'm a blue cheese fan, so that's probably not fair.
Put the pads on or something.
I know. It's like I kind of want to like.
gotta go in the
I want to turn it into an outfit now. Let's be Let's be sheriffs. I like it. I got you. Got it?
Maybe. Okay, I just broke it.
Those are beautiful.
It's okay.
That's
right.
I don't think
Go
we
for it.
can
All right.
focus after this. I think it was part of that. I think it was the vinegar. The
Okay.
vinegar can be pretty.
I'm
Megan, I love your rosé. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I seriously love
Fantastic.
my heart and soul into it.
You did. I can taste it.
It was no easy feat making great wine in 2020, as I'm
Oh,
sure JC knows.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But we did it, which is cool.
Mm. That is beautiful, and that is definitely my style. So I'm just looking at these.
Yeah,
side
they're
by
very
side, you know,
similar in
they're
color. Look at that. That's amazing.
Side by side. I
And
know,
honestly,
right?
that's a great wine. So it's really cool for me to see that
Yeah.
it's even like on par reach across.
Oh wow.
Excuse me. Put it up. So I remember when I started working in the wine industry, I joke that I tasted wine for, a century. It feels like I've been a professional wine taster, drinker, but to work actually at Raymond Vineyards was super fun. And it was the first time that I realized that you can make a rosé from anything.
Yeah.
I mean, any grape, we had a rosé one year that was, oh gosh,
Blends even.
Merlot,
Yeah.
maybe? I mean, Zinfandel is in
Oh,
some
yeah.
rosés, and I don't know, it just really struck me that
And there's a
Rosé.
few different styles. You brought up one that you can make rosé in, so like the Saunier, which was the red fermentation that you were
Yes.
discussing. And
yes.
it's actually quite the category, and it's very misunderstood in the
So it
United
technically
States.
means bleed off.
Saunier does, yeah.
Saunier.
Mine is direct press, so this is
Okay.
a fun comparison between
Okay,
the two sort of
okay.
different things.
So Sanier bleed off, which means you just
Bleed.
drain the juices off.
It's going
when
to
it
become a
reaches-
red wine, essentially,
Yes.
and then you bleed off a little bit
Okay.
at the desired level, essentially.
And then press.
And then direct press we did, yeah, and because it was grown
Skins.
intentionally to be a rosé. We harvested it to be a rosé. We
Okay.
planned it to be.
Okay.
So we actually harvested really early. And we picked right before all of the fires. So
Oh my gosh, I love this.
yeah,
This is
amazing,
lesson.
amazing. So yeah, and we did that because you want a higher acidity a lot of the times in the rosé.
Yes.
You want them to have these big, beautiful fruit flavors, but you want that great kind of
Okay.
gorgeous elegance to it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then as a sommelier, would you agree that the pairing for a rosé like this would work well with something spicy?
Definitely, yeah,
Okay.
because it's very kind of calming and cooling to your palate. And something spicy, you want a nice acidity level, and you want something even a little bit sweeter. This isn't sweet, but it's got great fruit.
Yeah, when
it
I first-
definitely has like
yeah.
some strawberry notes and some melon. It's completely dry, but it really pairs
It is dry.
well with the.
I would have
get
never
that,
thought
yeah.
the
Yeah.
two would balance off each other.
Yeah.
And it's nice because you have a little bit of spice, but not too much.
Yeah, the
It's
spice
delicious.
is really well balanced. Good job. But yeah, absolutely.
So good pairing.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
hearing
you.
an A+ on our first course.
Yay! Yay! Love it.
I'm going back for thirds.
I knew it would be super fun to
Something
have you
fun
here
too,
tonight.
and I'm wondering if this happened here, is we actually did do some neutral barrel aging on it was only for 6 months, but on my M Rosé, because we had all this bright acidity, but we wanted it to be very silky and not too citrusy. So we
Yeah.
actually did neutral on it for
I'm gonna have to look that
just a
up,
couple months.
because you know what, it didn't even mention the India barrel aging on
Yeah,
it.
it's very
So-
soft.
Okay.
Should we pass this down to you, Krista?
Oh. I get to
And
take-
behind the scenes, behind the camera.
Yes. Yes.
Definitely.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Little toast.
And this is what I learned from Susie, is how to make things look super cute.
I usually call her
Presentation letters.
Better.
And my question is, when can we hire you?
Yeah.
Right?
We're lucky enough to be her friend. We get invited to all this stuff all the time. So.
Sorry for the others behind the camera.
But you too can be invited as a guest. So
How can they go about doing that?
we are taking reservations. Just
Reach out
comment.
to us.
Yeah, reach out to us. Comment in the
Susie,
section.
is this the blue cheese?
This is ranch.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm gonna try
Cheese.
a little. I'm
Okay.
You did. You made it sound so good.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
I have the blue
Try it.
cheese. Okay. I'm trying the
Very
blue cheese with the
excited.
chicken.
Yeah.
And then, Megan, eat first and then a sip of wine, or sip of wine in your mouth and then eat.
In this scenario, I like eat first because you get all that yummy, like kind of very
Okay.
integrated spice, and then it cleans it all up with the sort of melon notes and things like that. So it kind of completes the
Mm-hmm.
whole flavor
gosh,
cycle.
that's
So
Awesome.
sort of preferential, I would say.
Mhm.
But yeah, I personally like it.
Fantastic. Another shot glass appetizer.
My entire goal was to sort of elevate rosé, make it better. There's a lot on the market that are just not
I agree.
fantastic, but it should. There's so many that could or should be.
Could be.
No, thank you.
And this was your mission, and you mission accomplished.
Okay.
Yay!
Yes.
The first of many, I'm sure.
Awesome.
I feel like we should like do the little one.
Okay. All right, Susie.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so our next course, I'm going to be cooking up some bite-sized crab cakes. Okay, again, I know I said this already, but I am a purist. Like, I really, I don't like a lot of stuff in my crab cakes. I've often said I could eat my way around the coast, trying crab cakes every place that I could possibly try them. But one of the things that I look for that I don't want is red pepper. And so many places have that red bell pepper in it. And for some reason, I'm kind of like the princess and the pea. I don't know if you know that story or not, but it could have the minutest amount, and I'm going to taste only that and not the crab. So I keep mine very, very simple. And there, you know, you're going to hear, oh, you can't use canned crab. You have to use this crab. You have to use that. And that I just break rules. I just do it how I like and what works for me. So I like to buy this. This is Star-Kissed. It's a can of crab. It's a 1 pound can. And it's great. It's refrigerated. It's in the refrigerated section. You can't always find it. When you do grab some, it does last quite a while, but you do have to keep it in the refrigerator. So I wanted to kind of give you an idea. On the bottom layer and the top layer, they have big pieces like the little leg meat here. and I want you to see what that looks like. So the rest of it, and all of this came out of that one can. I know, right? It doesn't look like it, because so when you break it up, it's very compact. So when you break it up, it makes a lot. So it'll make at least 24 bite-sized crab cakes, or probably a good 6 or 8 medium-sized, crab cakes. So what I do, I'm going to use panko breadcrumbs. I have a little bit of baking powder that gets them light and fluffy, and some Old Bay seasoning. This is like the #1 must-have for if you're going to do crab cakes. I think. Yeah,
just a little bit.
yeah. It's got like a teaspoon, I think, for the whole thing. I have the recipe. So, and the reason I'm putting my breadcrumbs, I'm mixing all that together so that it distributes evenly. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I have the other ingredients here, my red ingredients. I have a little bit of mayonnaise. I do like Dijon whole grain mustard. You'll see I do that in a lot of my recipes. It's one of my favorites. So I have that, a slightly beaten egg, some fresh ground pepper, and that's about it. And some fresh parsley. So I blended this together because what we want to make sure that we do is not overmix the crab cakes. Yeah, what I would normally do, just so that you know, is I would make these ahead of time and I would make them and put them in the refrigerator, back in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and they stay together better if I do it that way. But because we don't have time to do that today, I decided to go ahead and do this. So all I'm doing here is I'm just mixing that really lightly. I'm just tossing it lightly. I don't want to overmix, but I do want to make sure that all of that gets incorporated in. And I did break up. You want those leg pieces to break up. If you're doing big crab cakes, you want those big pieces in there. But since we're doing small ones, we don't want just a big hunk like that. So here we go. Let me just rinse my hands a little bit. And the other thing I do, so this is something I do different than most recipes. I form them, and then I like to put them into a little bit of additional panko. See, they're not going to stick together very well. Panko breadcrumbs. I'm going to do that. And this is where, like I said, you would make these, you would put them in the, do this, and you would put them into the refrigerator and let them just get tight. With the egg will kind of bind with it. So it's going to be interesting. It might not come out real pretty, but they're going to taste great.
I am the biggest fan of crab cakes, but it's funny. I will and have never made them, but the way you're doing this makes it look so simple. I know
You're going to do it, right? It really is.
I'm going to try it, but I know when I get home it's not going to be the same because it's not Susie's crab cakes.
Well,
But
if you use Susie's
I know
recipe, if you use Susie's recipe, then they should be. But yeah, I think knowing, like, it's one of those things that I was always afraid of too. One of those things I only saw in a restaurant, and I loved them. And like I've had them in Baltimore, Maryland. I've had them in Seattle. I've had them all, just all over the place. But again, I'm so often so disappointed when they have flavors too heavy or strong of flavors. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of these, huh?
I don't know why it's a little intimidating to make.
Is it? Even now, when you're watching me?
No, now you're
Now
making
it's not,
now you're
right?
making me want to go.
Well, that's
and
what I like to do,
try
is
it.
I want to take the mystery out of cooking. Because, I mean, if it's something that we order in a restaurant and we never made, to me, it seems like that's all it takes for us to say, oh, I can't do that, right? And it's like, yeah, you can. Like, this is how easy it is. Just knowing, I think knowing what to buy
That's
is
easy.
a big part of it.
And kind of like you mentioned the timing of things too, that always messed me up. Like knowing like that tip, like you put a little bit, you said baking powder?
Yeah.
Or put them in the fridge for 2 hours?
Yeah.
Things like that. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of that.
And
would've
what I
just
did,
tried to like jam it all together.
right. One of the things and the reason I like to add this little bit of extra, because I think it helps brown better. So I've just heated a non-stick skillet here with a little bit of oil in there. And put those
Sounds like
in
it's
here
the perfect temp.
and let those cook up. You don't want to overcrowd your pan. You're going to make sure that you keep it so that like that, and turn that up just a little bit. And then I also made a Remoulade sauce. And this again, I made it in advance. I just stirred it up with the whisk of the hand mixer and a measuring cup. And it's mayonnaise and lemon juice and a bunch of weird, I don't know, just a bunch of, it's got paprika, it's got, smoky paprika and stuff like that. So all the recipes are available for you after. They'll be up tomorrow, so you can there. And I actually broken down step by step. The crab cake has the longest instructions. There's actually 20, a list of 20 different things, but that's why. Open the can of crab and drain well.
But you know what?
Pour crab into a medium-sized mixing bowl and break the large pieces up slightly. Right?
We
So I guess I
need
take
that.
the mystery out of it. I know.
We need those step by step. So it's not like me. I'm like, okay. A lot of those times you look in the books or online, you're like, wait, but they're missing a piece. They're missing a step. So I like the breakdown. And
Yay.
I have tried some of your delicious dishes you have placed online or some of your YouTube videos.
That's right. That's right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, my favorite's the artichokes.
Oh, the artichokes, yeah. So I have a website that's been sitting out there for quite a few years, and I haven't. So this is how they're supposed to start looking here. I'm going to turn them. Because we didn't refrigerate them, they are actually really delicate. Again, just with that one egg for binder, so not a whole lot of. You just want to get them heated through. Crab's already cooked. Just want that egg to cook.
So were
That
there
together.
any questions from the audience?
Oh yeah.
The other audience? Has anybody tried
So,
this?
So full disclosure,
That's much better.
this is actually, the video is posting on Susie's Facebook page, not on the pouring and pairing for view. So we learn something every day, but that's okay. So I just shared it. So now you can watch it there. So it's there. So I haven't got a lot of comments yet, but we do have a couple people that are like, "Your cooking looks amazing, Susie." So you do have some friends that are like,
thank
"Woo!"
you.
So
I don't know how that happened.
and we can,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I
This is
know,
why
but
we just, we wing it every time and we have fun with it.
I thought I was on
So,
it.
it's okay.
It's crazy, right?
Um,
Oh my goodness.
Are you still cooking? Do you want me to talk about the Chardonnay, or do you? Are you ready to?
I'm actually
serve
gonna
that up?
plate. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm gonna
great.
go ahead
So
and
we're gonna
plate.
let Susie plate this, and then I'll share the Chardonnay that pairs with it.
I'm very excited to try this.
Well, let's see.
I have not tried it yet.
So, funny thing
So,
about
and
that.
I don't know if you noticed, but I'm using a lot of pie tins tonight. I bought these. We can use them. You can use them as plates. I'm serving things out of them. I love to. This is great for a picnic. Yesterday, I took some friends and we went to Raymond to the winery. We took our own picnic, which was really cool. And I took some of the chicken bites, so they had that and something else that I made, and I use these for our plates. So great idea for plates. Then you can use them for crafts. So it's amazing. So I like to carry things all the way through. I like to use things that I can do over and over that span span the ages. Kids love to eat out of those. It's a great idea. Have a camp
So
out.
cute, right?
Have a camp out picnic kind of thing for the kids. You can serve your hot dogs, your beans, and all that kind of stuff. There's so many different things. I can even think of things as I'm talking here. So one of the things, like if you save cans, like maybe the tuna can, that's a good size. That would make a really fun dish to put beside that with your baked beans or something like that in it. So again, right? Cowboy country, like they ate out of the cans and all that kind of stuff. So there you go.
So you're saying if we don't remember this, just call and invite you and you'll bring the whole supplies over.
Probably do that.
I know I function out like that.
Anytime I need anything, I know where to call. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and this would be again a way to do it. And if you're making these fancy, you can put them on a nice platter and then just add like a dollop of the sauce if you wanted to do that. But I'm gonna actually serve the sauce beside it so you guys can eat right from that. Okay.
I love these pie. I love these plates.
I need to
So
get
cute. So cute.
Well, it's easy. Okay. All right. Thank you. Move this out of the way.
Susie, I love the blue cheese dressing.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. I'm really glad you do.
Oh my gosh. I
That
had a
is
feeling.
awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk about what wine would pair well with some crab cakes. And I had told Susie I wanted to showcase 3 wines that are bold, right? So now we're going to have a Chardonnay. And you don't normally think, well, you can think that Chardonnay is going to be bold. But typically, white wines, you don't think about, oh my gosh, how on earth could you make this bold? And the way that Raymond, I work at Raymond Vineyard, so this is going to be a Raymond Chardonnay. The one on the flight is called the Signature Selection Chardonnay, and it is from Napa Valley, so fruit from Napa Valley. And the way you can make a big, bold Chardonnay is through oak. So white wines don't usually, don't want them big and bold, so you wouldn't do a lot of oak aging, but in this one they actually go through double oak treatment, so barrel aging, barrel fermenting, both. So that gives them toasty, buttery, bigger, creamy feeling in your mouth. So for this one, it should pair beautifully with your crab cakes, ladies. And I know, I'm so used to pouring at the winery where you do like 1 ounce pours, so I'm like, these are really you're drinking. I'm like, what am I doing? I don't know. I worked all day today, so Raymond, another biodynamic winery right in the heart of Napa Valley, up in Rutherford.
Really cool and very hard to achieve.
Okay, well, we will see. What do you guys think? Susie has your glass over here. A little bit there. She has with the crab cakes. Mina is our wonderful person behind the scenes. She's beautiful. We should show you a picture of Mina. Can you just She's being shy.
That's okay.
Yeah, but Raymond, this is 2019. I think the one on the website is actually 2018. In all honesty, I probably brought the wrong wine tonight, but we're going to talk about big and bold, and that's how you would make a Chardonnay big and bold, is through the oak treatment. So, anything to add to that?
Definitely. So this is really balanced considering that it's both barrel fermented and barrel aged. But there's something about barrel fermentation of Chardonnay where there's an oaky character to it, but it's incredibly integrated. Like a lot of people sometimes are overwhelmed by an oak character in a wine.
They're like,
too
I
much
don't want
vanilla,
oaky, I
too
don't
much
want oaky.
coconut, too much Coca-Cola.
Okay.
But when you barrel ferment, we are seeing a lot of data and studies that come in that show that it's like just all within
All
the
throughout
wine,
it.
all
Yeah.
integrated.
Okay.
And that's what makes it so much more pleasant. So
Okay. Yeah. Yay. So Roy Raymond, who started this vineyard back in 1970, was really a really renowned winemaker. He never called himself a winemaker. He called himself a farmer. He was always right there in the fields making, producing. He had 2 sons. He married Martha Jane Behringer from the Behringer family. So a lot of history there. Their first vintage was 1974. And as a lot of you know, the Judgment of Paris happened in 1976. Really put Napa Valley on the map. And all of a sudden we've got 500 wineries now in Napa Valley. That was not the case in those days. So, and I actually, shout out to Terry Patterson. She works with me at Raymond, and she actually knew the Raymond family and worked there back when they were running the vineyard. And now, of course, we're owned by Jean-Charles Boisset. Takes a lot of money to run a winery and to make wine. You can attest to that.
Cheers to that.
So, yeah, we all like to have a winery, right? I apologize to my children all the time. I'm like, I'm so sorry you weren't born into a winemaker family. I coulda, shoulda, woulda. Yes, right? However, so Christy Raymond in 2009 had 2 little kids. Takes it, like I said, a lot to run the family. Her father and her uncle had, her grandfather had long since passed away. But her father and her uncle decided to move to Arizona, play golf, retire from the wine business. She couldn't do it by herself, so John Charles zoomed in from Burgundy, France. He had already bought the Roche, which we talked about. So he decided to invest in Raymond. He knew how to make Pinot Noir, right, coming from Burgundy. So Sonoma was easy for him, but getting hooked up with a really legend in winemaking from Napa Valley, Roy Raymond. He got to experience what it's like to make really premium Chardonnay and Cabernet.
Show the bottle.
So this is the Chardonnay from Raymond.
Hard to see.
It's so much fun. This one is only $40. So for a Napa Valley Chardonnay, that was pretty decent. And I should have mentioned, this is a $28 bottle of rosé.
Yeah.
So $40, $28. Then we're going to move up to our next one. Red wines tend to be a little bit more expensive, right, than rosé.
yeah, that's okay.
It's not bad. I will share in the comments how you too can go and get this wine. Perfect. On my site. Yay. Okay, do you want to talk about the, oh wait, you guys did, let's taste this with the crab cake. What did you think with the Chardonnay? She took the plates away.
Bring them back? I'll bring them back.
Yeah, we definitely got paired. Yeah, paired well.
Yeah, it's very, very well. You can either go kind of congruent or contrasting, and this is very congruent. It has enough kind of character to it, the apple note and things like that works well with the crab.
Okay, and I
There's a
think
little bit
that's,
of a nice spice to the remoulade and the creaminess, and it all sort of
okay. So
very
a contrast would be what? And
contrast would be something
for sure.
different. So say you had something like, we were talking about spicy and something that has a higher acidity, that's a contrast.
Okay.
Congruent means
Because this is
similar.
buttery creamy.
Yes, buttery creamy, like the remoulade sauce is kind of creamy.
Okay.
So that's similar, like congruent. Good pairing. Often when you're thinking of pairing, think about like weight and weight. So that's perfect. That was a perfect pairing.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for
Hats
describing
off
that.
to you.
I love learning all of this stuff.
I know, I love listening to this. I have to
Yeah.
go back and listen to it because I missed
I know.
I'm mesmerized.
We always wanted it to be a little bit of education, you know, a little bit of fun little tips and tricks, and of course she shares amazing entertaining ideas. So I think if you're anything like me, you can use all of those you can get. But then we want you to have fun too. So
Yeah,
and we always do. We never know what's going to happen, right?
Someone is on the wrong page. I mean, is there any reason I don't even think there is.
Hey, but it's the right way this time. It's not sideways, which was our very first attempt.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. So,
All right,
that's okay.
all right.
All right. You want to talk about the steak?
Sure. So I am doing the pan grilled steak here, and I'm going to be serving them with a Cowboy Butter Dipping Sauce. And what is, I know.
What is a Cowboy Butter Dipping Sauce?
Okay.
And just for that, gotta do it.
It's melted butter, juice and zest of a lemon, then garlic, whole grain Dijon mustard again. Like I said, I have a thing going on here. Red pepper flakes, smoked paprika, fresh parsley, some green onions or chives, yeah, and salt and pepper. So you guys, so on the steaks, what I did is I only just brushed them a little bit with some olive oil and put salt and pepper on them. That's it. That's all I'm doing because I'm serving them with the sauce. And then what I've got going on over here, and that sauce was so easy. I just made it in the pan right here. And I just really, you can see, look at that, how they're starting to come together on that. And when I flip them,
Yeah, that was a good grill there. So the other audience on the other side, don't be jealous.
and remember, I mean, I told this last time, but those of you who weren't here, in order for me to do this at this high heat like this, I have to I have to unplug my fan so it doesn't come on automatically. And I have to have my smoke detectors off just while I'm cooking because it won't work.
Yeah. Thanks for that tip because mine always go off.
Well,
Now I know what to do.
everything's done. So yeah. So the other thing I'm doing here, and I think I got my grease just a little bit too hot, is I'm going to do the corn and okra dish. I'm going to cook that at the same time as I'm doing it. Let me add some
I
garlic.
love these pie dishes.
Isn't it fun?
Well, I
I
like
think it's
them.
so fun. I love it. Yeah. I think next month we might do my other little trick. Not sure what we're going to do, but my girls grew up using frisbees for their plates.
I remember that story. I love that
And
story.
they really did. And their friends would come over. I got them at the dollar store, and the friends would come over, and they would we'd order pizza, and they'd come out with their stick stack and go to the pantry, get the stick stack of crackers, and they would bring them and set them down beside the pizza. And their friends were like, I want cookies. Are you ready for eating? To them, they were like, well, why doesn't everybody eat over? Because they didn't know any different. They've been here for so long. And it's just one of those things that I thought was fun, and it just kept going for years and years. So I'm talking about that okra. I know lots of people don't like okra. And I appreciate that, but I would like you to at least give it a chance.
I will.
Oh, absolutely.
You sold me on the blue cheese.
Okay,
I'm gonna
good,
try the
good.
okra.
Because people say it's slimy, it's this, it's that, and I get it, I do understand. Yeah, it is pretty smoky there. So,
Well, I'm a foodie. I'll try anything.
so
Enjoy
here's
it all.
what I said. So I want to tell you a little bit about okra. It is slimy if you get it canned, it's slimy. If you put it in a soup or stew, it's gonna be slimy, it's gonna be that way. And then there's a difference, so I bought a bag of pods, but if you can pancake them, it would be way better. You're never gonna wanna use this one because it's gonna be tough. It should not be in my bag, it's just like pick too late. So I went small, medium pods, so they're tender. Big, big difference, this is gonna be rough.
Does the curvature have anything to do with the?
Nope. So, this is bacon grease. I've seasoned this with a couple tablespoons of salt and pepper, flour with a little bit of salt and pepper. That's all. Look at my steak time.
Can't go wrong there.
I know, right? And I want to put some garlic in there. I'm going to add some garlic to that. So I'm just going to cook this for a couple of minutes. I have cut these in about 1-inch size pieces, and the reason I did that was so if anybody who doesn't like it, or just try it, and if you don't like it, you can take it out. I pick it out, and you don't have to, it's not so little that you're gonna get a big glob of it. So. And if you don't want to do it that way, you can always make the corn without, you can always do the fried corn with just the bacon and the fresh corn, of course, but
All my favorites between the garlic and the rosemary and butter, the steak, the bacon. Oh my goodness. Like a feast. Smell.
That is like,
here.
this is like,
I wish you could smell through the camera.
like, think of it.
All right, sorry. I turned that down kind of low. It might not get as crisp as I want to. It's not really going to get crisp because it's going to, yeah, it's not going to get crisp. Now you're too low. So, again,
Oh, and I love the jars too when you put the butter in.
I
definitely want to try that.
We're starting to turn that off, so the steak's off. And I'm going to.
Oh, okay, good to know.
Put a little shrimp in there. Let them rest. And now I'm gonna add my fresh corn. I cut this off and we got 4 cups. So and all this is written in the recipe, so as well.
So we hope you have your bed to fall asleep on.
I actually do. And I got, my ratio is about 3 times as much corn as there is okra, because it's crazy. Not everybody loves okra. I can eat okra just by itself, like fries like that, so I love it. But I thought it just gives a nice green, little bit of stuff going on. We're going to add some salt and pepper. And then the other thing that I have going, I'm just going to cook this, like heat this corn until it's kind of hot here. So it's warm all the way through.
Susie, is that Himalaya? Is that Himalayan salt?
It is.
Nice.
And I just use it all the time. It's just handy to have it right here. I put it in a little
I do too, I love it.
Well, again, I use it just for everything. Yeah.
I've heard that it's better for you or something, and
I think I heard that
like
too.
maintains the mineral content
Yeah.
better or something. Yeah.
And it looks like when you do sprinkle it on top of something like you're serving, it looks pretty too.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're gonna let that finish cooking, heating up there. It's gonna get hopefully it's gonna get a little bit of brown going on. So we've got that. And then
Should I talk about the wine, or you want to keep
Yeah,
going?
just 1 second. And then
No.
while I'm gonna finish this up, I'm just gonna say, I wanted to keep it really simple. I thought we needed a vegetable. Right? Everything's been pretty heavy tonight, like a lot of it. So I just cut up an English cucumber, some cherry tomato, grape tomatoes, and then salt, pepper, and balsamic, and a little bit of fresh basil. That was it. So I thought that
Beautiful
would be
color.
good.
Look at
Talk
that.
about presentation.
I know.
Pop
Right?
color.
I needed that color, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, go ahead.
So a few more minutes?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, this is fun because I get to talk about absolutely one of my favorite wines coming from Buena Vista Winery over in Sonoma. California's oldest premium winery. It was founded in 19 1857, by a count from Hungary. And here's an interesting fact. He was actually the first sheriff of San Diego. So, here we go.
I just moved here from San Diego.
Really? Oh my God. Love San Diego. I visited
San Diego. Where are you from?
North County, so Encinitas.
Encinitas, yes. So, yeah, first time I visited San Diego, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this. And everybody's like, please don't go around and tell anybody that. Because we don't need anybody else moving here.
Oh my God.
And I'm like,
No.
we love it. So, yeah, so,
blend?
sure, it is.
Okay.
It's going to be a blend of 7 grapes. Amazing. Primarily Cabernet based. So this is, so remember, big and bold experience, right? So bold red blend. So we've got Cabernet Sauvignon, about 33% Cabernet Sauvignon, but also some Petit Syrah. And then in the Petit Syrah family is Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre. So I tell my friends who love GSMs, this is GSM on steroids. Like, this is amazing. It also has a Spanish grape called Mission. So we've got a little Mission grape in
Well,
here.
you know why that's special? The
Tell me
mission
why.
grape actually hails from Southern California, and they find
There
it in
you
San
go.
Diego, so I wonder if, like,
I
that's a
bet
nod
so.
to
It must
San
be.
Diego, yeah.
So this is probably used to be our #1 seller. I think Passion, which is another beautiful blend by JCB, was our top seller last year. But this is still a huge demand. Everybody I know that loves the Sheriff says, oh my gosh, when can I get some more of that? So yeah, Buena Vista, really special property over there in, pretty close to the plaza, actually, in Sonoma. You have a wonderful walking tour when you walk in that explains the history of winemaking in California. The Count, unfortunately, met his demise in Central America when he was eaten by crocodiles.
Oh, goodness.
At the tender age of 57.
Oh no.
You know, we always have to have these stories. You know.
That's
And then,
Yeah.
and of course, you make a wine about it too. So there's a beautiful wine called the Revenge, and it has a picture of a crocodile on it. And
Wow.
yeah, so
Quite a story. This is fabulous.
stories, right? Storytelling.
It's all
Stories.
about-
Wine are stories. So,
Wine is
yeah, I have
people.
people that just buy the Sheriff. They're like, send me another case.
Oh.
I love it. Oh, and fun fact, and I'm gonna look up the picture for you, Mina, so you can zoom in on it. But if you zoom in on the badge. Good thing to know about this wine bottle is this is glued on, so you can actually pry this badge off. We have people that have made beautiful like water tumbler sets of like 6 or 8 glasses and stick the badges on the glasses.
Like a Susie.
Yeah, like Susie. Of course. Yeah.
Hey, Susie, you know what we're doing?
I put them on a pair of wine glasses, so when people come over, I'm like, you get the Sheriff glass. So, yeah. So, yeah, this is a really big bowl. So this is gonna stand up beautifully. You want this with either, I think the food pairing suggestion was either lamb or steak, and we're obviously gonna have steak tonight, so this should go great with this.
This is my style too.
This is your style?
Yeah.
I love it.
This is
Yeah.
nice.
And this is only $50, so really for a premium, you know, I know.
Wow. Hey,
So.
sign me up.
I'm taking your order in a
I'm going
minute.
home
Hold
with
on.
some of these. This is all.
I have, it's funny, I have some friends in Florida, so just in case they're watching, I'll do a shout out to Vicky and Cindy and Paula. They go together and order a case of this because they just freaking love the Sheriff. They're like, that's just our wine.
Even just gifts.
Gifts, yeah, right? Okay, so yeah, you brought up a good point. This is a wine that we also include in our custom label program. What that means is you can do a message, do a private label on this bottle. You can either keep the badge on or not. I don't know why you wouldn't keep it on. So I had a friend whose son just graduated from the Police Academy in Jacksonville, Florida. So they were throwing a party. So Kim Storm, hi, I love you. So she bought this for her son Drew, and she put a beautiful picture down here with said, you know, thank you so much for serving and for graduating in the Police Academy. And so she bought a case of the Sheriff. So case quantities only on our custom label program, but we can do anything for you. We do it for a lot of realtors, we do a lot for mortgage companies, investment, and really anybody that owns a business or gives wine. I buy a case of this for myself, and then I just take it to dinner parties. I give it as gifts to friends, you know, kind of special.
I love that little label, that
Everyone loves
Sheriff, because it just gives it that extra thing.
We like that. Okay, how's our steak coming?
Okay, we are good. So, something I learned recently. These inch and a quarter. So you can get whatever, whatever kind of steak you want to use. You can use ribeye. These are New York. And then what I did is I left them out, and then, like I said, oil like a couple hours before you cook them, so they come to room temperature. What's really cool about this is 2 steaks.
Oh.
When we go to, and they're about 3/4 of a pound each. So when we go to a restaurant and you order that steak, who needs that much, right? So really, this is enough for 3 people. So I bought 4 steaks and would serve 6 people very generously, especially when you've had all these courses and you have all this food, right?
Yeah.
And I learned this last summer when from a friend of mine. He cooked a bunch of different kinds of steaks and then cut them up that way and served them for all of us. And I was like, wow. I don't know what took me so long to think about that.
So what do you call Napa Susie restaurant? We go to all these restaurants in Napa, but no,
Right? The other thing that's nice about this is you'll notice in the thickest part in the middle, that's where it's rarer. And then for anybody, there's on the ends, because there's always those places on the end where it's a little more well done.
So they can get what they want.
You can pick what you
I
want.
love it.
Yep, absolutely. And then I cooked it with the fat on, and then I cut that big piece of fat off before I cut it here. There's still a little bit, so you're gonna have to look around, pick around it. But there you go. And then the other thing I did with my corn and okra is that bacon that I had cooked to get the grease to cook it all in. I know, no cowboy dinner would be complete without bacon, right? Without bacon,
this is
so
all
I
calorie
added
free.
the bacon back in it, so you can see the little bits of bacon in there as well. So yeah, so this one I'm going to have you girls serve yourself, okay? Yeah, so.
With the sheriff.
no, it's not all for me.
The sheriff. And here's your cowboy butter. And then
Cowboy
this
butter,
is
I
for
love
you.
it. Thank you. Wonderful.
Right along with.
Okay.
Okay.
Susie,
And you've got the sheriff in your glass.
it's the little
So.
touches too that really elevate things, like just the little
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
Presentation and
My goodness, I was not expecting all of this. Amazing wine.
Well, I was. That's why I didn't eat all of it. Just saying.
I think I'm gonna steal this pie dish idea. It's practical and cute.
Okay. Well, cheers,
That's it.
everybody.
Yeah.
That wraps up our pouring and pairing for Vous event. Susie, great job.
Thank you.
Always
Great
great
job.
to
Thank
see you.
C'est
Thank you.
beaucoup.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bridget, Megan, you made it so
Cheers.
special tonight. We love it. We love
Yeah.
having people.
So-
Cheers.
Thank you for inviting us. This is fabulous. We learned a lot. We had amazing wine. When can we come back?
Oh, the next one.
That's a great question because we already do have that one scheduled for August 12th. So Thursday, August 12th, 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Hopefully we'll get it on the right website.
And thank you so much for coming. She's going to have the recipes on here. I
Yep.
will have the wine flight in case any of these wines interest you. Feel free to buy. We love you. Thanks for sticking with us.
Bye bye.